evening. My name is Subhash Pandey. I am the conference chair and also the past president of International Ramayana Institute of North America. I'm one of the founding member of also this institute. On behalf of International Ramayana Institute of North America, I would like to express our deep gratitude to all dignitaries, invited speakers, performers, dance directors, and you all for attending tonight's 4th International Ramayana Conference. This conference is organized by the Ramayana Institute to celebrate 20 years anniversary. This organization was founded in the year 2000 with the help of dedicated volunteers from Indian, Thai, and Indonesian communities to promote the literary, scientific, artistic, and cultural aspect of Ramayana worldwide. During last 20 years, we have organized several programs, including 12 dance drama performances, 3 International Ramayana Conference in collaboration with Southeast Asian Studies Center located at Northern Illinois University at DeKalb. I would like to take this opportunity and thanks all past presidents for their hard work in fulfilling the objectives of Institute in very commendable way. Friends, the value of Ramayana have the high potential to bring unity and harmony among different communities worldwide. I can say this organization is a model for unity in diversity. Ramayana promotes good human values, has proven acceptability in all across various communities. As you know, Ramayana is an ancient Indian epic, but traveled worldwide with great impact on various countries' civilization and cultures. Today's program will symbolize this particular theme of the Ramayana. Conference Organizing Committee of Institute have put together an exciting program consisting of several presentations and dance performances to give you glimpses of the literary, artistic, and cultural aspect of Ramayana. We are confident and hopeful that you will like the program. Ramayana Institute is a very unique organization. It is represented by, as I said, by 3 communities, and each community take lead in providing the leadership for the institution and for organizing the annual programs and celebrate the rich value of Ramayana. This year, the lead country is Indonesia, and Mr. Martino Tankar is current president of the Ramayana Institute. He is a very dedicated community leader and working in institution for last several years. He is also president of Indonesian Diaspora Network in the USA. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Tankar for his welcome remarks.
Thank you so much, our conference chair, Dr. Subhash Pandey. Selamat datang, namaste, sawadinka, om swastiastu. At this opportunity, I just want to say a brief welcome and thank you to all of you. We graciously welcome all of you to this spectacular and comprehensive 4th International Ramayana Conference in celebration of 20 years anniversary of the International Ramayana Institute of North America in cooperation of India, Thai, Indonesia and led by Indonesia this term. I also would like to express our sincere gratitude to all audience worldwide. Without all audience, this virtual event wouldn't be successful. I was one of the youngest founding members 20 years ago, and I always avoid to take position as president of this organization. But sooner or later, finally, I have to take it. Yes, dreams comes true. We are supposed to have a festive, real in-person Ramayana performance with 900 capacity in an auditorium today, but due to COVID-19 pandemic, we changed the plan to this virtual conference. Hopefully, we can organize it next year. Today, November 7, we also celebrate Wayang, or later shadow puppet, as masterpiece of oral and intangible heritage of humanity by UNESCO. Firstly, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Honorable Mary Binsar Simorangkir, Indonesian Consul General, Honorable Pusanu Saban Royal Thai Consul General, Honorable Amit Kumar, Indian Consul General, Honorable Dr. Wayan Koster, Governor of Bali, Indonesia, and Honorable Congressman Raja Krishnamurti. Our deepest gratitude to well-known keynote speaker Dr. Tony Nader and all respectful scholars, Mr. Michael Stanfield, Mrs. Anita Bose, Dr. Catherine Raymond, Professor Dr. Wayan Kun Adnyana. Some of them are pre-recorded to avoid signal transmission failure or other technical difficulties. However, they are attending this virtual conference. This conference is also broadcast via Facebook Live and YouTube for future reference. And also, enjoy extravagant Ramayana epic dance performance by Indian Dance School by Gauri Jok, Thai Cultural and Fine Arts Institute of Chicago, Thailand's Ministry of Culture Fine Arts Department, Indonesian Consul General Chicago Dance Troupe, which Indonesian General Mr. Mary also play a cast as Dalang or puppeteer at the cold weather below 10 degrees Celsius outdoor in Chicago with all consular team, Mr. Harry Laksono, Mr. Made Sentanajaya, and many others. Everybody can watch the dance performance later. It is our appreciation and accolades to all of you. Since this is a zero budget, I also want to thank all volunteer and teamwork that make this event possible. That I cannot name one by one right now, but my heart is with all of you. Have a fruitful and enjoyable international conference. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Tankar, for your welcome remark on this occasion. Friends, original Ramayana was written by great sage Valmiki ji in Sanskrit language. Then Ramayana was written in India in Hindi and also in several other languages, as well as written in other languages in other countries. One of the Ramayana which is very popular in India is Ramcharitmanas, written by under great sage Tulsidas. To start the program, I would like to request Mrs. Rasmi Gandhi and Mrs. Kanchan Pandey to recite future poems from Ramcharitmanas. Please welcome them.
Namaste. Greetings. The chopayas we have selected are to control the disease, the pandemic, and for the world peace. So, hope you enjoy it. Lokabhi Ramam Ranarang Dhiram राजीव नेत्रम रघुवंशनाथम कारुण्य रूपम करुणा करंतम श्रीरामचंद्रम शरणं प्रपद्ये मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगम् जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठम् वातात्मजन वानरयोत मूचम श्रीराम दूतम शरणं प्रपद्ये दीन
दयाल विरद संभारी रघुनाथ मम संकट भारी। दैहिक दैविक भौतिक तापा राम राज का हुई नहीं व्यापा। जो प्रभु दीन दयालु कहावा आरती हरन वेद जसु गावा।
दैहिक दैविक भौतिक तापा राम राज काहुहि नहीं व्यापा।
जो प्रभु दीन दयालु कहावा आरती हरन वेद जसु गावा।
जप ही नाम जम आरत भारी मिट ही कुसंकट हो ही सुहारी।
राजीव नयन धरे धनु सायक भगति विपति भंजन सुखदायक।
मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी द्रवहु सुदशरथ अजीर बिहारी।
द्रवहु सुदशरथ अजीर बिहारी।
द्रवहु सुदशरथ अजीर बिहारी। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम।
Thanks, Mrs. Rasmi Gandhi and Mrs. Kanchan Pandey for your melodious recitation and your message for human well-being during this COVID pandemic. Now we'll move to our next program. It is my great honor and pleasure to introduce Honorable Consul General of Indonesia, Mr. Mary Binsar Simo Rangkir. He is a career diplomat who has held several important positions in Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, including Head of Bureau of Finance prior to joining Consulate Office in Chicago. He has served at Indonesian missions in the United Kingdom, Australia, and Egypt. And he joined Indonesian diplomatic service in 1993. He is popular consul general among Indonesian community in Chicago. Please welcome Honorable Consul General of Indonesia for his remark on this occasion.
Thank you, Dr. Subhas Pandi, IRINA Conference Chair, for the introduction. Honorables Congressman Raja Krishnamurti, Honorable Mr. Martino Tangkar, President of the International Ramayana Institute of North America, so-called IRINA, Honorable Dr. Iwayan Koster, Governor of Bali, Indonesia, Honorable Mr. Amit Kumar, Consul General of India, Honorable Mr. Pusanu Sombon, Consul General of the Kingdom of Thailand, Honorable members of the IRINA Executive Committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very good evening to us all. Allow me on the onset to extend my warm greetings to you and introduce myself, as this is the first time that I have the opportunity to address the distinguished members of the International Ramayana Institute of North America, or IRINA. My name is Mary Binsar Simorangkir. I am the newly appointed Consul General of the Republic of Indonesia in Chicago. Although current conditions hinder me from meeting all of you in person sooner, I am enormously looking forward to the opportunity to do so in the very near future. I should also like to take this opportunity to extend my profound gratitude to Mr. Martino Tangkar, as President of IRINA, for inviting me to greet you at this auspicious event. It is with great honor that I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the International Ramayana Institute of North America for their work in organizing the 4th International Ramayana Conference of 2020. Through this endeavor, the Ramayana Institute once again demonstrates its relentless spirit in bringing together cultural communities consisting of scholars, artists, and dance directors, and encourage fruitful discussion to exchange their scientific, artistic, and literary views on Ramayana. Acknowledging the fact that we are still in the midst of a pandemic, the organizing of this conference, albeit via online, shows that obstacles can be overcome by joining together our collective efforts and affirming our commitments to achieve a common cause. Ladies and gentlemen, the story of Ramayana itself transcends within the culture of Indonesia, Thailand, and India. It is a beautiful story of the passion and struggle for noble cause. Although the interpretation and details of the Ramayana story may be different from one culture to another, but in this modern world, its main message helps to define a common theme as human beings, where humanity, as depicted in the story, is about the importance of moral values, diversity, and respect. Spanning across different culture and society for generations, those meaningful depiction within Ramayana remains relevant to this very day. That same spirit is also carried out in my home country, Indonesia, where since 1961, the Ramayana ballet has been continuously showcased at an open-air theater at one of our national heritage sites, so-called the Prambanan Temple in Central Java. As you can see on the screen behind me, this is the Ramayana dance performance being performed at the Prambanan Temple during a full moon. For those who wish to immerse in the Ramayana storyline through the ballad, I invite you to travel to the Prambanan Temple, which in itself is a magnificent 9th century Hindu temple, the second largest in Southeast Asia, and also a renowned UNESCO World Heritage Site. And while there, you can experience firsthand the sights and rich culture that Indonesia has to offer. Distinguished members of the executive committee, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, allow me to once again congratulate and express my deepest appreciation to the Ramayana Institute, as well as community members for their collaborative efforts. I wish you all best and success for the convening of the 4th International Ramayana Conference. I thank you.
Thanks so much, Honorable Consul General, for your congratulatory remark and also telling us some story of Ramayana in Indonesia and always constant support to the Ramayana Institute. Friends, it's my great honor to introduce to you the Royal Thai Consul General, Honorable Mr. Pushanu Sobhon. He had extensive experience in serving the Thai government and he started his career as attaché in Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1991. Since then, he has held several important positions, including the Minister Consular, Secretariat to the Department of American and South Pacific Affairs. He is actively engaged in promoting heritage and culture of Thailand and well liked by the community. He got his education from US universities and completed his Master of Art in Government and Politics from Georgetown University here in USA. Please join me in welcoming Honorable Consul General of Royal Thai for his remark on this occasion.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Sube Pandey, Irina Conference Chair, Mr. Martino Tongkar, President of Irina.
Can you see the video
General
flashing?
Mary Binsar of Indonesia.
Yeah.
Consul General
Video
of India, Dr. Tony Nader, distinguished guests and participants. It is an honor and pleasure for me to be with you this evening. at the 4th International Ramayana Conference to celebrate the 20th anniversary of cooperation between Thailand, Indonesia, and India on the Ramayana. I wish to first of all express my appreciation and thanks to the International Ramayana Institute of North America, IRINA, for organizing this virtual conference, a timely adjustment in these special times due to COVID-19. The Ramayana epic is a rich cultural tradition of South and Southeast Asia. It is a shared history between our regions and our peoples, and one that has great cultural influence to our arts, our culture, and our minds over the past generations. Over the past 20 years, the cooperation and friendship between Thailand, Indonesia, and India has done wonders to keep this marvelous tradition alive and well, and also for future generations. Even as COVID-19 casts a pall over our social interactions and cooperation all across the globe, I'm glad to see that this tradition of cooperation still continues this year, virtually of course, but we are still moving forward with our efforts to not only preserve the Ramayana, or as it is known as the Ramakien in Thailand, but also to keep it alive and well for future generations. And so that people will still have a chance to experience the wondrous interpretations of the Ramayana across many cultures, including Thailand's own. For Thailand's own interpretation of the Ramayana, the Ramakien, today we have to thank the efforts of the Thai Cultural and Fine Arts Institute of Chicago, which has kindly arranged and coordinates so that people at this conference today, we have the unique chance to see a video of a professional performance of Thailand's Khon dance, which is our staging of the Ramayana. And this performance is done by artists from our own fine arts department of the Ministry of Culture. And it is telling a story that is unique to Thailand's version of the Ramayana, the Ramakien. The story is the story of Nang Loi, which you will be able to experience in a few moments after this. And I hope it will be enjoyable experience for all of you. I will not take up any more of your time. So before I sign off, I would just like to say that thanks again to IRINA for organizing this conference, and also for the efforts over the past 20 years in keeping the Khon, Ramayana, Ramakien tradition alive and well for future generations. I also would like to thank again the Thai Cultural and Fine Arts Institute of Chicago, without which we would not be able to see the Thai traditional Khon performance that will be coming up shortly. I wish the conference every success, and I wish everyone to stay safe and well in the days ahead. Thank you. Sawasdee krap.
Thanks, Honorable Consul General of Thai, for your remarks, and also your strong support for the activity of the International Ramayana Institute of North America. Friends, now it's my indeed great honor and pleasure to introduce to you Honorable Consul General of India, Mr. Amit Kumar. He is a career diplomat and joined the Indian Foreign Services in 1995. He has extensive experience, having served in headquarters of Ministry of External Affairs of Government of India and in several Indian missions abroad. He recently joined Indian Consulate Office in Chicago. He is actively interacting and helping community during this challenging time of COVID-19 pandemic. I can say in very short period of time of his joining here, Mr. Kumar has impressed Indian community through his day-to-day interactions, and desire to promote the cultural heritage of India. Prior to current assignment, he was the Deputy Chief of Mission in the Embassy of India, Washington, DC, with ambassador rank. In addition, he has held several key positions, including the Joint Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. Ambassador Kumar, by training, is a mechanical engineer and received his engineering degree from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Please join me in welcoming Honorable Consul General of India for his remark on this occasion.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey, for those kind words of introduction. I'm very happy to be present here at the 4th International Ramayana Conference organized by the International Ramayana Institute of North America, or IRINA. I would like to extend my felicitations on the 20th anniversary year of your establishment. As Dr. Pandey mentioned, IRINA is a unique collaborative venture bringing together scholars and communities from several countries, in particular from Thailand and Indonesia, to discuss and showcase our shared heritage about the great epic Ramayana. I would like to recognize the presence of Dr. Tony Nadar and several noted scholars of Ramayana here, as well as the Honorable Governor of Bali in Indonesia, Honorable Member of the US Congress, Mr. Raja Krishnamurthy, my fellow Consul Generals from Indonesia and Thailand, Mr. Martino Tankar, the Honorable President of IRINA, and other office bearers. All of us who have lived and grown in India recognize the special significance that the Ramayana holds for Indians. Indeed, it is, as I mentioned, is a shared heritage extending into our neighborhood in South Asia and Southeast Asia. In India is seen as a living force in our lives and have helped foster unity of outlook among its people, cutting across the diversity of India. I think we should we should try and understand what explains the abiding popularity of Ramayana over the centuries across India and in the extended neighborhood. Insofar as India is concerned, I feel that the universal appeal of Ramayana in some ways contributes to and is also a reflection of the importance that Indians attach to idealism, our reverence for moral values, and the fundamental belief about ultimate triumph of good over evil. The epic Ramayana has been a source of inspiration through the ages and provides benchmarks for social conduct, ideal behavior, and ethical standards. It focuses not only on the destination, but also on the journey. It is equally about the end as well as about the means to achieve that end. It is a story about family, society, friendship and sacrifice, social harmony, as well as ethical leadership and governance. Lord Rama is seen as an embodiment of wisdom, valor, generosity, integrity, patience, and justice. The epic also provides abundant information on the social and political environment of ancient India. As Dr. Pandey mentioned in the very beginning, we have in India the original Valmiki Ramayana, but we also have several versions. We have the Ramcharitmanas written by Tulsidas in the Hindi heartland. We have the Kamb Ramayana in Tamil. We have Raghunath and Ranganathan Ramayana in Telugu, Ramcharitam in Malayalam, and so on. There are several other versions in Kashmir, in Karnataka, in Bengal, and Orissa. The epic Ramayana has left an indelible influence on the family and social life, literature, and culture of not only people in India, but also in parts of South Asia, Southeast Asia, and East Asia. Various versions of the Ramayana flourished in these countries, but all of them retain the basic storyline. the narration of Ramayana has also taken different forms, and we will be witnessing some of these diverse dance drama traditions today. We have heard from the Consul Generals of Thailand and Indonesia about our shared culture and heritage. In the 18th and 19th century, the Indian diaspora carried this tradition to other countries such as Fiji, Suriname, Guyana, Mauritius, and Trinidad and Tobago. In more contemporary times, with advent of globalization, it is no surprise that we are seeing greater appreciation of this wonderful epic in different parts of the world, including the United States. In conclusion, I'll say that the universal appeal of Ramayana truly transcends the boundaries of age, time, geography, and cultures. I would like to wish the organizers of this event full success and a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Consul General of India, Mr. Amit Kumarji, for your greetings on this occasion, and also for your strong support for the activities of Ramayana Institute. Now, I would like to invite Mr. the Newman Mahartayasa, who is the past president of Ramayana Institute, to introduce Honorable Governor of Bali.
Om Swastiastu. Greeting from Chicago. My name is Nyoman Mahartayasa. I served as the president of the International Ramayana Institute of North America in 2009 until 2011. It is my honor to introduce the next speaker, His Excellency Dr. Wayan Koster, the Governor of Bali, Indonesia. Dr. Koster graduated from Bandung Institute of Technology. He received a master from the International Golden Institute and a doctorate from the Jakarta State University. He elected as a governor of Bali in 2018. Before becoming governor, he was a member of People Representative Council representing Bali province. During his tenure at the parliament, as part of the 10 Commission, he worked on the legislation covering education, culture, sport, tourism, and creative economy. Bali is the most popular tourist destination in Indonesia and one of the best travel destinations in the world. Tourists love Bali for its beauty of nature and the richness of its culture. More than 80% of Balinese population practicing Hinduism. The Ramayana scripture is very well known to the Balinese people, and its value are embedded deeply in the fabric of Balinese culture. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming His Excellency Governor of Bali, Dr. Wayan Koster.
Om Swastiastu. His Excellency Consul General of Indonesia in Chicago, Honorable Mr. Mary Binsar Simorangkir. His Excellency Consul General of Royal Thai, Honorable Mr. Kusano Sobon. His Excellency Consul General of India, Honorable Mr. Amit Kumar. Honorable President of International Ramayana Institute of North America. Honorable Chairman of IRINA, honorable speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. To begin this remark, let us extend our utmost gratitude toward Hyang Widiwasa for the blessings given to us all so that we are able to gather today, November 8, 2020, for attending both International Ramayana Conference in good health and in peace. The legend of Ramayana, written by Bhagawan Valmiki, is one of the most important masterpieces in human history. Its tale has been translated into many languages and has been told through generation, especially within the community where its culture has strong relevance. Indonesian culture, especially Bali, has strong ties to Ramayana. It can be seen in many kakawin or sacred hymns sung in Balinese Hindu ceremonies. Ramayana story also inspires Balinese culture and arts such as traditional dance, performing arts, shadow puppet performance, and many others. Ramayana has taught important lessons in our life through the story of King Rama, who is also an avatar of Vishnu, the god who brings salvation not only to human but also to whole universe from time to time. King Rama depicts a heroic victory against even when he depicted King Ravana. Such victory is symbol of human salvation from falling into greed and destruction of our morality values. Ramayana is very important text for humanity. Thus, we must keep seeking a deeper meaning of the text to find a noble guidance for generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Balinese Hindu community has been preserving the story of Ramayana until this day as inseparable part of culture, art, and religion. Kakawin or sacred hymns of Ramayana are always sung in every occasion of religion ceremony. It has become a unique tradition in every village in Bali. The government of Bali province, through the vision of Nangun Satkirti Lokabali on integrated development plan, is fully committed to realize the new era of Bali, which means preserving the sanctity and harmony of Balinese nature and all therein in order to create sustainable prosperity for Balinese people, both in scala or physically and niskala or spiritually. This vision is accordance with Trisakti principle integrated by our founding father, President Sukarno, which comprise of fullest sovereign in politics, independence in economic, and moral integrated in culture. This can be achieved through development plan that is well structured, inclusive, well designed, and integrated within the boundary of Pancasila values inscribed on June 1st, 1945. This vision emphasizes upon three important and coherent elements of Balinese social system. Those three elements are nature, grammar or people, and culture. The vision of new era of Bali has brought the government of Bali to fully support any activity, event, program, and initiative which aim to preserve Balinese culture, tradition, and historical literatures. Ramayana is diligently preserved by the government and Balinese people so that it still exists until today. It has become inseparable part of Balinese Hindu life. The study of Ramayana is still conducted by our gifted minds in the higher education institutions, the arts maestros, cultural experts, and the whole Balinese. As the governor of Bali, I appreciate and welcome the 4th International Ramayana Conference this year. I hope the conference can bring huge benefits not only in academic but also for the better welfare and morality values of humanity worldwide. On this good occasion, I am presenting head of the Bali Culture Office of Bali Province, Prof. Dr. Iwayan Kut Adnyana, to presenting about Ramayana in context Bali culture, hopes to provide information related to Ramayana in various manifestations of arts and culture activities in Bali. Thank you. Om Santi 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 Om.
Thank you to the Governor Dr. Wayan Koster, and best wishes from us to all of the people in Bali. And I hope under your under your leadership, Bali will overcome the COVID pandemic very soon, and we can go back to our normal life. And I'm looking forward to go back to home in Bali. Om Santi 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 Om.
Thanks, Newman. And also thanks to Honorable Governor of Bali for his super remark and also telling the how the Ramayana is so important day-to-day life of the people in Indonesia. And I really appreciate his support for the activities of International Ramayana Institute of North America. Dear friends, it's my great privilege and honor to introduce to you Honorable United States Congressman Mr. Raja Krishnamurthy. He was elected in November 2016 to represent the 8th District of Illinois here in Chicago suburb, and he's a very active Indian American politician and serving community for so many years now. He's also serving in several important committees of United States government. Please welcome Congressman Honorable Mr. Krishnamurthy for his congratulatory remark on this occasion.
Hi everybody, I'm Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. Thank you so much for all of everything that you do every day for your communities, your families, and your country. I know that you are looking forward, as everyone is, to the International Ramayana meeting, and I look forward to hearing all the good news that comes out of celebrating one of the great stories in international religion and of course of our faith in Hinduism. As a Hindu American, I am very excited to greet you, and best wishes to you and your family, and please stay safe.
Thanks, Congressman, for your encouraging message and support to the community. Friends, now we'll move to our seminar session and our keynote presentation by Dr. Tony Nader. Few words for Dr. Tony Nader. First of all, we are excited when he accepted our invitation for the keynote presentation at 4th International Ramayana Conference. Dr. Nader is a MIT and Harvard trained medical doctor and one of the world's great Vedic scholars. His training includes in internal medicine, psychiatry, neurology, and he is a MD PhD physician scientist and received his PhD from MIT on the brain and cognitive neuroscience. He has published extensively on the relationship of mind, body, and consciousness and its relation to the human physiology. Dr. Nader was introduced to Ayurveda and other area of the Vedic knowledge, including Ramayana by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Because of his great interest and outstanding research, Dr. Nader became international president of Maharishi Ayurveda universities and trained several doctors in Ayurveda. One of the area of Vedic science is the scientific understanding and validation of transcendental meditation. As you know, this is about the spiritual and non-physical world. Dr. Nader got involved in this area of science under the guidance of Maharishi and developed a profound expertise in modern science. He is currently head of the International Transcendental Meditation Organizations worldwide and involved in promoting Vedic science to improve all areas of society, including the health and happiness. We are proud to present to you Dr. Tony Nader to share his knowledge and research on Ramayana in human physiology.
It is a great joy to be participating in this 4th International Ramayana Conference. And I would like to thank the organizers for organizing such great conferences and for inviting me to participate. Ramayana is an epic, a story, it's part of history, it's a detection of so many levels of life, moral, philosophical, social, diplomatic, political, and has so many characters of teaching and instructions in so many levels of life. Chivalry, strength, purity, power, holding one's word, but also jealousy, fear, expectations about the future, premonitions, and some extraordinary level of life that are normally considered fantastical and unusual, and achievements that are of profound levels and supernatural aspects that can be seen and considered from the surface level. It is thanks to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi that I discovered a new dimension of the Ramayana. For Maharishi, every story of life, every event, everything that happens physiologically, biologically, socially, on the cosmic level, as well as on the tiny levels of the atoms and molecules, is an expression of the laws of nature. And the laws of nature are expressed in different layers of creation, but the reality of all there is consciousness, is pure being. It is the one consciousness, the one unbounded field of pure existence, pure being, pure knowingness that manifests into all aspects of existing realities, physical realities, material realities, and their relationship on the mineral level, the biological level, the organic level, on the level of human functioning, on the level of society, and on the level of relationships between societies, nations, and the world. The laws of nature in modern times are mostly understood in physical terms, in terms of gravity, weak forces, strong forces, the forces of gravity and electromagnetism, and their relationship that come together to create the laws of physics, and then on a more complex level, the laws of chemistry, and then the laws of biology. And from biology, we go to physiology and psychology and sociology, and all there is that constructs our universe and maintains it in order, progressing and evolving towards higher and higher achievements. Maharishi therefore sees in Veda and Vedic literature as a perfect expression of the laws of nature. Veda, therefore, and its literature is not just a philosophy or poetry or knowledge that is to be understood on an intellectual level, but also a knowledge that comes from direct experience of how the unmanifest pure consciousness manifests as reverberations, fluctuations that become the surface aspects of existence, the surface aspects of reality. It is like physics describing that all the material level comes from energy, and all the energy and the forces of nature are electromagnetic, weak forces, strong forces, gravitational forces, are ultimately unified in a unified field of all the laws of nature. Veda and Vedic literature is a science of awareness, a science of consciousness that says the same thing. It says that one field of pure existence, pure consciousness, pure awareness becomes and appears as the multiple aspects of the universe that we observe. Therefore, different stories of life, different experiences in life are the stories and the experiences of the dynamics of the laws of nature interacting one with the other. These dynamics are partial in some cases, they are more complete in other cases, and they are quite all-encompassing in other cases. The Ramayana is a story of total natural law, as it is part of Veda, which is total knowledge, total aspects of the laws of nature, the laws of life, the will of God, if you wish, and they are expressed on the level of the Veda in sound and its fluctuations and reverberations, and in the Vedic literature in different ways. Ramayana as part of Itihas, which includes Ramayana and Mahabharata, tells the story of natural law in a story form, in a form where there are events that happen, events that take place and that unfold, and we know the beautiful events that happen in the Ramayana. This total natural law expression in the Ramayana, therefore, is an expression of how the laws of nature manifest, interact with each other, and lead to development. Development from certain situations to ultimately reaching the highest level of potential development in society, which is in the Ramayana expressed in Ram Raj, which is a heavenly life on earth where the rain comes on time, everything is perfect, everyone gets what their needs are, and everybody lives content and happy and fulfilled, and all is according to the laws of nature. Life is in tune with the will of God, and therefore it is a fulfilling life and a life that is holy and blossoms in bliss consciousness. So that is the outcome of the fullness of the Ramayana. The human physiology has been described as being Brahman, as being totality, wholeness, Aham Brahmasmi, and also as being Veda, Vedoham. That reality is not only true and truly expressed, beautifully expressed in Vedanta and the Vedic literature and Veda, but also in many aspects of all literatures of the spiritual knowledge and religions and different belief systems. For example, in the Bible, it is said that humans are created in the image of God, which means humans contain wholeness, are an expression of wholeness and of totality. They include all the laws of nature. We also heard in the Testaments, in New Testament, that the kingdom of heaven is within us, kingdom of heaven within you. In the Tao, thou art the Tao, thou art that. In Islam, consider yourself to be an atom in which the whole universe has folded itself. So if human physiology, which is able to experience the transcendent through transcendental meditation, which is able to experience higher states of consciousness, such as transcendental pure consciousness, as well as higher states of cosmic consciousness, God consciousness, and unity consciousness, the human physiology, which upholds the ability to experience such higher levels of consciousness, and which has been declared to have within it all the laws of nature, all the Veda, or has been done in the image of the divine, therefore has a dynamic and progression and activities within its physical structure that must really resemble and be in tune with total natural law. So the equation that we face is, we have Ramayana, which is also an expression of total natural law in a story form, and we have the physiology, which is an embodiment of total natural law. So Maharishi guided me and inspired me to see the relationship between what is happening in the Ramayana and what happens in the human physiology, how the human physiology develops, and how it reaches levels of awareness that are on the level of heavenly life, on the level of bliss consciousness, total moksha, liberation, and fulfillment. And this is indeed what was my joy and astonishment to discover, and that is that all the characters, all the events, all the places, the rivers, all the aspects of kingdoms, relationships between husband and wife, between a king and the subjects, between mothers and their children, fathers and their children, between the kings and the rishis and the forests and what happens in the forests, and the relationship between factors that are out of balance, such as fighting rakshasas or building bridges, and then having the loss of certain values and then recovering them. All of these values are actually available in the human physiology. And it is possible to trace the story of the Ramayana as it is recounted, as it is told, as it is recited in the Vedic text of the Ramayana, through the story of the development of the human physiology. And we find here interesting categories and interesting places that actually really can be found in the physiology, starting from the higher values of the leadership, which is described as kings and Ram and the brothers of Ram and the kingdom of Ram and the father of Ram, Dasharat, and the mothers of Ram. We find that these higher values are in the higher parts of the nervous system, such as in the cortex, where there is the leadership of the activity of the physiology, and where we see consciousness most expressed in its highest form, and where we have anticipation of the future and planning, decision making. But this part develops from childhood into adulthood and into higher states of consciousness. This part, as well as the whole physiology, goes from the birth and then child development, balancing the physiology, and then going into higher states of consciousness ultimately. And this is how the Ramayana unfolds. We can see that from the time of the birth of Ram, there is that rulership, but it is not ruling over the entire kingdom. It is ruling over certain parts and patches, and things are not completely balanced yet. It's the same as the child trying to walk. And then there are rishis that come into effect, such as Vishwamitra, guiding the young Ram to be balanced and to be able to use the bow and arrow and to look properly and shoot the arrow properly. And we see that this is the way the child gets developed and gets balanced and gets to shoot the arrows properly. The arrows and the bow of Ram, which is very important in the story of the Ramayana, is the nervous system through the vertebral column, which looks like a bow, and the arrows are the nerves that come out of the vertebral column and that shoot electrical impulses, which means make the whole physiology function based on their output and also on the detection of what is happening from the outside. And that is the scene that is seen in the Ramayana as the return of the arrow of Ram to its quiver. So there is this feedback loop. It is said that Ram, when shoots an arrow, the arrow goes, achieves the purpose, hits the target, and comes back to the quiver. There is that feedback loop that is happening. The rishis are parts of the nervous system also. They are the nuclei inside the midbrain and the brain stem, which are in an area that often is described as the reticular formation because it is like a forest. It's full of arboration of nerves, and there are these condensed nuclei that have specific functions, and we find that these nuclei are exactly corresponding to the rishis, and even the sequence in which they are mentioned in the Ramayana, they can be present and seen as a proper sequence of the way Ram meets them one after the other in the nervous system. We see that there is a correspondence between the different values. For example, the 4 brothers of Ram, they correspond to the 4 lobes, 4 parts, main parts of the brain, and then they come together as one entity. So that is at the end when they are all coherent and all working functionally and effectively as one entity, and that is how the wholeness of the nervous system comes together through the development of consciousness, through transcending, through transcendental meditation. So we find these similarities, we find these places, we find that also the mothers, for example, of the different individuals, they correspond to the nourishing value of the arteries, of the nourishment that brings all nourishment and support and sustenance, and they correspond also one-to-one to the different aspects and different characters in the Ramayana as they are corresponding to different divisions and subdivisions in the nervous system and even in the cardiovascular system. Because Sita is present in the heart, and we can see that Sita, who represents Mahalakshmi, has its 2 qualities of Radha and Rama, and we see that the descriptions of the function and the colors and all of that are also present within the human physiology. So whether it's servants, workers, rivers, trees, places, rishis, kings, rakshasas, they all can be found in the human physiology, and the relationship between them and how they develop through the story of the Ramayana is the same flow of growth and development and evolution of the human physiology till the age of adulthood, and then beyond just adulthood, the ability to reach higher states of consciousness and get enlightened. These different factors are very specific. One can take hours to discuss them. I have put them in a book called Ramayana and Human Physiology, which explains these details in great detail and great specificity of relationship, such that every event, every aspect of the Ramayana is actually a phenomenon happening in our human physiology. What this tells us is all is consciousness, all is oneness. The laws of nature embodied in our human physiology are the same laws of nature that conduct the affairs of the universe, and they are described in the Ramayana. So the Ramayana can be seen also as a description of the laws of nature that conduct the entire universe from a very fundamental level, and that conduct the affairs and functioning and growth and development of our own human physiology. So between matter and energy and consciousness, the limits and the lines get blurred. Ultimately, there are no lines. It's a continuous reality of one consciousness appearing as energy and fluctuations of energy and appearing as matter. And all this is available and explained in its dynamics in the Ramayana, as well as displayed in our own human physiology. At the end of the day, when we transcend through transcendental meditation and its advanced technique, go beyond the surface value and inspire and use all the resources of pure being, pure consciousness that are within us, we can live a life of fulfillment, a heavenly life on earth, which is a life in the field of unity consciousness, in the highest field of awareness. And that is similar to the creation of Ram Raj, heaven on earth, on the social level. So the individual, society, the cosmos, consciousness at its basis, consciousness at all aspects of life is the reality that manifests on the surface level. It is told and expressed in different ways in the Veda, and the Ramayana is a supreme way, a scientific way of expressing total natural law and showing us the potential, the possibility, and ultimate realization that we can live life in perfection, society can live in perfection, if we are in tune with natural law, in tune with total natural law, with Veda, which is a science and technology. So Veda is not a belief system, it is a science of life, it's a science of the dynamics of how the laws of nature manifest, how they interact with each other to create steps of evolution for perfection and bliss to be lived in life. All glory to the tradition of Vedic masters that has given us this knowledge of perfection of life. We have in our tradition Gurudev Brahmananda Saraswati, and who was the Shankaracharya of Jyotirmat, and his disciple whom he sent in the world to teach that knowledge, His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, from whom we have all this insight into natural law and the technology of how to develop the full potential of life to create peace in society, as research has shown, by removing darkness through transcending. When a group of people practice transcendental meditation together, and its advanced techniques, it has been shown that conflicts are reduced, that problems are removed, that wars are diminished, that there is prosperity, reduction in hospital admissions, reduction in conflict and crime, and therefore there is a powerful effect on health, mind, body, integration, behavior, as well as on the level of society. So Veda is a science of technology, and all glory to the knowledge and to all those who uphold that knowledge and understand it in its fullness for perfection to be lived in individual and social life.
Thanks, Dr. Nader, for this outstanding and thoughtful and highly innovative talk. This is a very nicely presented to explain the concept how Ramayana controls the function of brain and also the other part of the body, and thereby it Ramayana regulate the whole human body physiology. And now we will move to our next presentation.
Thank you, Subhashi. My name is Ramesh Malan. I'm Secretary, International Ramayana Institute of North America. It's my proud privilege to introduce the next speaker, Mr. Michael Sternfeld. Michael is a producer, director, with over 300 productions in Ramayana, related theater, music, dance, audio, and video. Title of Michael's presentation is The Vedanta of the Ramayana. Please welcome Michael Sternfeld. Michael?
Okay, I just want to make sure that my video is on. I'm unable to put my video on at this moment. Anyway, thank you, Ramesh, while they're waiting to put my video on. For some reason, mine's not going on. It's really an honor to be here again. I think I spoke at one of the first Ramayana conferences by the International Ramayana Institute in Chicago in 2001.
Since the title of my talk, The Vedanta of the Ramayana, is a little bit unusual, I thought I'd tell you a little bit of a story, a background story of where this impulse came from. And I'm going to begin with a little bit of a story that I think many of you can relate to. Perhaps you've also had the experience that you have some mission or project you've been working on for years and you have all this passion, and then that passion diminishes and you're not so sure, like, what the next step is going to be. And you even wondered where that whole impulse even came from. What was the significance of it? And I can say from my own experience, I've been passionately involved with the Ramayana for almost 3 decades now. And I was feeling that I was just running out of things to do. I'd always been a little bit more of a producer than a scholar. And my mission has always been to really take the knowledge and the experience, the story of the Ramayana, and bring it out for the West to enjoy. I've done several theatrical productions, built an outdoor theme park based on the Ramayana, and created numerous audio productions. I was feeling complete with all my work. And then this past winter, I was invited to speak at the World Ramayana Conference in Jabalpur, India. And I was wondering, what would I speak on, since I'd felt that I was done? And then a dear friend suggested to me, a dear friend said, why don't you talk on just that, of being done with the Ramayana? The Ramayana is done and you're done with it. What would that be like? Now this was sort of a eureka for me. I was inspired to incorporate what I was actually feeling into what I would talk about. And I came up with what I would speak about. What happens when the Ramayana is all over? And I came up with the title, The Vedanta of the Ramayana. Vedanta means the end or the goal of knowledge. So my intention here is to describe the end or the goal of the Ramayana. So when the journey of Ram has completed its full course, and the trials and tribulations have been endured, and the great victory won, what is the ultimate experience that we as readers or listeners are left with? We could consider the end of the Ramayana to be at the end of Yuddhakanda, when Ram triumphantly returns home to Ayodhya after the great victory over Ravana. Or it could be at the end of Uttarakanda, when Ram ascends with most of the citizenry to Ayodhya, to Brahmaloka. At the end of all that, what are we left with? What are the reverberations of the Ramayana that continue to vibrate and resonate out into the world? And that reminds me actually of a verse, the opening verse from Samaveda, which is one of the great branches of the Veda. And it goes, Agni has come to disappear, to be given away, and what remains is the offering. Now, using that line in a parallel metaphoric sense, we could say about the Ramayana, Ram has come to disappear, to be given away, and what remains is the reverberations of wholeness. I'd like to make an aside here about my background with this knowledge, because if there's anything I say really that has any merit here, I have to express my gratitude and appreciations to my teacher, the great Vedic sage, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. I have followed in the footsteps of Dr. Nader, who spoke earlier, in being guided to a deeper understanding of the Ramayana from Maharishi's teachings. And for that, I'm forever grateful. So Maharishi would often ascribe qualities to the Veda and the branches of Vedic literature. For example, Maharishi called the Ramayana wholeness on the move. He also called it the blossoming of totality. But my favorite, because I have a little bit of a theatrical quality, was Brahman on the stage. This seemed powerful. So within this idea of the blossoming of totality or wholeness, we can see that as we follow in the footsteps of Ram, the Ramayana is not just an allegory or a guidebook to high-minded morals or exemplary behavior or even the refinement of Dharma. The Ramayana, in my experience, is a direct and palpable blueprint for growth to higher states of consciousness. The intrinsic fabric of Ram's journey are the impulses of the Ramayana that resonate as pulsations of our own refining nervous system. All the characters of the Ramayana and all the elements of the story, along with their nuances of transformation, are impulses of our own being that amalgamate to form pathways and patterns of growth and transformation. This is the journey towards wholeness that Dr. Nader described earlier. But first, I want to go back to this idea of Brahman on the stage. What does that really mean? Brahman, or totality, is the knit-together wholeness of the absolute, that deepest level of non-changing field of life, and the ever-changing, the relative field of life, the knit-together wholeness of the absolute and the relative. So what does that have to do with our experience of the Ramayana? And note, when I say experience, I'm really referring to where our awareness meets the Ramayana and what trickles down to go deep inside of us, what we actually remember and integrate. We could say, in terms of my analogy earlier, the remains of the offering. So let's look at the mechanics by which the Ramayana actually works. Its active ingredient that propels our experience to grow in the direction of wholeness, totality. It's called the play of opposites. All great epics, in fact, all sacred literature, is structured around this dynamic of the play of opposites. It goes like this. One value comes up, then the opposite value comes up, often in big extremes. For example, Dasharatha loves his son and desires to make him crown prince, but his wife Kaikeyi, who was promised 2 boons by Dasharatha, betrays him and demands that her son, Bharat, is made king. Dasharatha is torn between the love for his son and his duty to follow through on his promise. This apparently irreconcilable play of opposites forces us as readers or listeners to swing between these 2 opposite poles, a great swing of emotion, until we can somehow transcend to a deeper level of synthesis, a deeper understanding that somehow embraces both of these. In this case, how does Ram respond to his banishment? Complete acceptance. He knows that it is his destiny. That's the deeper level of synthesis, to know what your destiny is. Another example is when Ram shoots the Vanara king Vali in the back like an assassin. This was a very challenging section of the Ramayana because Ram is so virtuous and exemplary in his adherence to Dharma. How could he do such a thing? But as Vali lay dying on the battlefield, the truth comes out. Vali had improper relations with his brother's wife. And therefore, he was not bound by justice in this particular case. But the most challenging example is when Ram banishes Sita. Everyone, especially women, struggle to understand how Ram could do such a thing. But at the end of the Ramayana, Brahma himself comes to explain to Ram that he is actually the primordial Vishnu, and Sita is Mahalakshmi. And their separation is like a blink of an eye in their eternity. There really never was or never will be a separation for Vishnu and Mahalakshmi on that transcendental level of life. So events like these force us to go beyond or transcend these big swings, these deep swings of emotion, to this deeper level of synthesis that somehow embraces these opposite values. So where is this going? At every stage of these swings, we move from the greatest field of expansion to contraction into the narrowest boundaries. And at each step, our emotions are challenges, and it forces us to grow. This is the force of evolution, culturing incredible flexibility in our awareness to encompass the full range of life. And each of these swings are really like stepping stones that swing us in the direction of encompassing the big play of opposites, which is the absolute and the relative, the field of the ever-changing and the non-changing, the field of silence and the field of dynamism. all that deepest level of life with the field of diversity out there. So now we're at the doorstep of wholeness, like a lamp at the door, shining a light in both directions, one illuminating the absolute value of the never-changing, and the other illuminating that field of the ever-changing, the relative. And now we're also at the doorstep of Ram's true nature. Maharishi revealed to us the profound level of Ram's transcendental nature. Ram is actually the embodiment of Brahman, totality, this total integrated value of life. In Vedic terms, this is expressed as Ram Brahm Paramarat Rupa. Ram is Brahm. And now we begin to fathom that Ram is the embodiment of this most profound level of life that organizes, sustains, and maintains the whole universe. Maharishi described this beautifully. We'll look at the first slide. Ram is the embodiment of pure spirituality, pure being, totality in its absolute unity. All activity in the universe is orderly because of that eternal law of life, the administration of Ram, which establishes and maintains harmony in all relationships, which harmonizes everything with every other thing in the universe. And I should add here that really the grand synthesizer that enables us to encompass this level of experience is deep meditation. I found transcendental meditation helps me transcend down to that level of Atma, that place in our consciousness that knows no duality and can encompass this level of wholeness deep inside my own awareness. So we see Ram at this level as the ruler of the universe, and also the very nature of our own self-referral consciousness, silently organizing every aspect of life. Now I'm going to shift gears, put on my scholar's hat, and cite some of the references from the Ramayana that illustrate this transcendental level of Ram. In Sundarakanda, Hanuman says to Sita, "He, Ram, is the creator and instigator of the boundaries of the world." Again in Sundarakanda, Hanuman warns Ravana about the nature of Ram. Easily withdrawing all the worlds together with all beings, both moving and unmoving, that mighty Ram is capable of creating them again and again. Another one, in Uttarakanda, Lakshman exhorts Ram, "How is that you do not recognize that you are the self, the great self?" And finally, in the beginning in Balakanda, sage Narada describes Ram's nature to Valmiki. He is always approached by the wise, as the ocean by the rivers. So now we're starting to get a glimpse, a deeper and deeper glimpse into the true nature of Ram. He's more than a prince. He's more than the noblest of kings. He is that ocean of consciousness that all the streams flow into. So now I'd like to shift gears one more time to the field of physics as we move towards our grand conclusion. I was thinking about Einstein and how he came up with the theory of relativity. And he would come up with these thought experiments to envision how his models fit together. So let's try a thought experiment with the Ramayana. What would have happened if Kaikeyi had resisted Manthara's gossip and Kaikeyi had said to Ram, "Ram is like a son to me. I'm not going to ask for those boons to exile you." What if the story had stopped there? Ram was never exiled to the forest. Sita was never abducted. Ram never met Hanuman and the alliance formed, and Hanuman was never the great ally and servant of Ram. And the great battle between Ram and Ravana never happened, and there was no great victory. It was just a story of a young prince who was crowned king, and the story ended there. Not a lot of conflict, not much drama, and not a lot of Brahman on the stage. Think of where we would be left. Would we even be having this conference today? So that's the beautiful Leela of the Ramayana, that everything is included in the Ramayana. Everything is necessary in the Ramayana. You can't separate what is right and what is wrong. We begin to realize that Ram embodies this absolute Brahman on the stage, totality moving through all these diverse elements of the story. And in this diversity, the Ramayana contains both the divine level and the level of the Asuras and Rakshasas. That's because Brahman, totality, has to be all-inclusive. It has to contain everything. And it just doesn't make any sense. The Veda doesn't make any sense if totality doesn't have this all-inclusive quality that contains everything. So as the story unfolds, you see this central hero Ram moving with his wholeness. And all the diversity and divergent forces of the Ramayana are being subsumed into him, surrendering into him, surrendering into the wholeness that he embodies. And there's a lot of diversity to encompass. We have the gods, the devas, the asuras, the rishis, the kings, and all the other races of beings in the story, the charanas, the gandharvas, the beautiful apsarasas, the danavas, the yakshas, the divine birds like Garuda and Jatayu, the plants, the mountains, the animals, and this incredible myriad diversity. Everything is contained in this display of Brahman on the stage, as it should be. So we see the Ramayana as one big breathing model of Brahman, a big breathing model of life with all these forces and characters acting in this dynamic flux and flow. And in the center of it is Ram. He's like the sa note in the Gandharva Veda scale, a pure hum of unity. And as I expressed in that quote from Maharishi earlier, harmonizing everything with every other thing in the universe. And even though I'm bringing things out on a more thematic level, I'm also reminding us of Dr. Nader's amazing discovery where he found that the Ramayana is actually the structuring dynamics of our own physiology. All this diversity of the Ramayana is actually living inside of us at the deepest cellular and structural levels. We are also living embodiment of the Ramayana, the very impulses of our own physiology. So you can see now why Maharishi also called the Ramayana a direct means to the unfoldment of Brahman. All these trials and tribulations, these ups and downs, all these conflicting values take us to the big cosmic level. The Ramayana transverses the field of diversity, all these impulses of the story, and connects us to the impulses of our own consciousness. The awake state of consciousness sees the intelligence that governs the entire creation as expressions of our own inner intelligence. And through this process, everything that is not wholeness is brought back to wholeness. Brahman on the stage. And as this Leela unfolds, we begin to see who we really are. And we begin to realize on an experiential level the truth of the Upanishadic Mahavakya. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. I am that. You are that. All this is that. I just want to add one more beautiful line from Maharishi here. He said, enlightenment is the coexistence of opposite values. Big statement. We've seen now how the swing of the opposites is culturing our growth and evolution, the unification of the ever-changing and the non-changing fields of life. Ultimately, and this is the goal, to live this level of unity consciousness. I look forward to moving with you on this grand journey towards unity within and extending out to the whole world. And I just want to add one little postscript, is that now you can see how my own Vedanta of the Ramayana unfolded. What I thought was the end of my story with the Ramayana was actually a new beginning. So my hope is that we're inspired, that all of us find a new beginning at every point of our story. Thank you very much.
Rashmiji, please come on.
Malanji, you want to make concluding remark?
So we don't have the video, right?
No, just concluding remark for the Michael talk.
Thank you so much, Michael, for joining virtually in person, giving an explanation about your audios, videos, and what you are presenting in there. Leela of Ramayana, totality, unity within, and extending outwards. What a great ideas, great teachings. Thank you so much. And next, I welcome Nand Prakash ji for the next one.
So what we are going to do from here, we will have the dance drama and the talk alternate. So I'd like to invite now Mrs. Rasmi Gandhi to introduce the first dance drama presentation by Indian Dance School.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Rashmi Gandhi, executive member of IRENA. The next dance drama is by Gauri Jog, the Indian Dance School, and she's going to present Rama's birth until Ram and Sita's wedding. So please enjoy the dance. Thank you.
he could not understand until he realized that he did not have any successor to his throne. He began to feel that his life was incomplete and craved for a son. On the advice of sage Vasishtha, King Dashrath goes alone barefoot without his horse chariot, court advisors and ministers to the forest to get the help of sage Rishyaringa. Sage Rishyaringa guides King Dashrath to perform a yagna. Bharat, Lakshman and Shatrughna soon became young, handsome prince.
Ramayana inspired millions of Indonesian people for hundreds of years. Its influence can be found in our arts and culture. To tell you more about it, I am pleased to introduce the next speaker from Bali. He is the head of Cultural Office of Bali. His name is Professor Dr. Wayan Adnyana. Dr. Adnyana is a professor of art history at Faculty of Visual Art and Design of Indonesia Institute of the Arts in Denpasar, Bali. He received his Master of Art Studies and PhD in Art Studies from Indonesia Institute of the Arts in Yogyakarta. He is a very successful exhibitor with his multiple solo exhibitions on visual arts. He received numerous prestigious awards, including the highest award for a civilian, Satya Lacana Karya Satya, awarded by the President of the Republic of the Indonesia, Mr. Joko Widodo. Ladies and gentlemen, presentation by Professor Dr. Wayan Kunda Adnyana, 1000 Years of Ramayana Epic in Nusantara. Please join me to welcome Professor Adnyana.
Om Swastiastu. Rahayu blessing all of us. His Excellency Governor of Bali, Honorable Mr. Dr. Wayan Koster. His Excellency Consul General of Indonesia in Chicago, Honorable Mr. Mary Binsar Simorangkir. His Excellency Consul General of Royal Thai, Honorable Mr. Husanu Sobon. His Excellency Consul General of India, Honorable Mr. Amit Kumar, Honorable President of International Ramayana Institute of North America, Honorable Chairman of IRINA, Honorable Speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here as a speaker in this noble event, the 4th International Ramayana Conference. I would like to say thank you to the Governor of Bali, Dr. Wayan Koster, for this opportunity. In this wonderful occasion, I would like to deliver the following presentation, 1000 of the Ramayana Epic in Nusantara, Bali, Indonesia. It aims to showing the popularity of this well-known epic in the traditional and contemporary culture of Bali. The Ramayana was first translated into Old Japanese in the 10th century during the rule of King Dyah Balitung of ancient Mataram. This translation was done in the Kakawin form and used to be sung. The Kakawin were the temple of literature, Candi Sastra. In the same period, key episodes of Ramayana were carved as a relief in the Prambanan temple in central Java. The love story of Rama and Sinta ornates the wall of the temple, thus transforming the temple of literature, mentioned above, into a temple of art. The Ramayana epic has now become an integral part of Balinese culture. The countries of Bali constant creativity. The theme of the epic has been explored in a variety of medium, religious as well as non-religious. In Bali, the Ramayana is present as collective as well as an individual expression. The Brasilontar leaf illustration, temple reliefs, and decorative aspect of various ritual items. At the literature level, the Ramayana is found in variety proceedings such as that of the Kakawin, Kidung, Gaguritan, and in the form of modern literature. All the aspects of the Ramayana above interact and intermingle with one another to better fill the earth with meaning that of the Amarta Exceller of immortality. The theme of the Ramayana is also found out in part work of master such as Gusti Nyoman Lenpat, Gusti Ketut Kobot, and Nyoman Gunarsa. Their works are found in museum collections throughout in the world. We also find the names of Ramayana heroes in the names given to stage, amphitheaters, and building of the art center of Bali province. In literature, the theme of Ramayana found throughout the whole spectrum of Balinese classic literature. In 1962, the old Japanese Ramayana was translated in Balinese language by the famous scholar I Gusti Bagus Sugriwa for education purposes. He also wrote his own Ramatantra version of Ramayana. The Bali Culture Office of Bali Province has every year for 41 years held a Bali Art Festival, many decorative elements of which are borrowed or derived from the iconography of Ramayana. Besides its present in various artifacts, the Ramayana is relevant of separate leadership values. The formulation of those values are known as Astabrata, or the eight aspect of leadership. This is a smart way to interpret Ramayana. 1,000 years Ramayana in Nusantara is to be understood as a moment in an ending flow of aesthetic and intellectual creativity on the theme of Ramayana and its various symbolic interpretations. Today, when the whole world is hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, its forum must be viewed as the starting point of a new consciousness and of initiative aiming at bringing about a peaceful, just, and prosperous world. Thank you for having listened to my presentation. Have a good day. Om Santi Santi Om.
Thank you to Professor Dr. Wayan Adnyana for the very informative and very educational presentation. I also would like to invite you one day, maybe you can bring the dance performer to perform Ramayana dance drama in Chicago. Yeah, we will love to have that. So Ramayana is not only popular and influential to the Balinese culture, but also popular and very influential in other part of Indonesia, mainly in the island of Java. The next presentation is Ramayana dance drama in Japanese style, produced by the Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia in Chicago. This is a very special presentation because the Honorable Consul General Mary Binsar Simorangkil also performing in this beautiful production. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the Ramayana dance drama, The Abduction of Sita, presented by the Indonesian Consulate General Dance Troupe in Chicago.
Dateng kula kasaenan panjenengan badhe damel mulyanipun ngantos dumugi kaken dinten calok.
What a wonderful performance. I just want to tell you that I received a lot of private message that they are very happy with this performance. Indeed, it is a wonderful presentation and quite a work of the video edit. And once again, thank you to Honorable Consul General Mary Binsar Simurangkir for this wonderful dance drama presentation. And I do hope that his presence at this video will inspire us to appreciate more of our arts and culture. We also would like to thank to the Deputy Consul General Mr. Hari Laksono and Mr. Madison Tanajaya for their dedication and support to the International Ramayana Institute of North America. And last but not least, thank you to our friend dance choreographer Bapak Tri Kumarasidi and all staff at Indonesian Consulate Office and their families for their hard work in making this video presentation. As you can see, this video was taken in Chicago very recently, and I only can imagine how cold it was, the temperature outside at the time.
Namaste. Next presentation we will have is from India. Place of Singh. Nanda of America and also a founder member of the organization. It's my pleasure and privilege to introduce the next speaker and presenter, Mrs. Anita Bose. She's an author, artist, independent researcher, social worker, and former guide of National Museum, Bangkok. Currently, she holds the office of the convener of Global Encyclopedia of Ramayana Project under the Ministry of Culture in India. In 2019, her remarkable book on the practice of Ramayana culture in different parts of Southeast Asia, titled Ramayana Footprint in Southeast Asian Culture and Heritage, was very well received in various parts of the world. Please welcome our next presenter, esteemed Mrs. Anita Bose.
Namaskar. Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be a part of this auspicious International Ramayana Conference. According to Swami Vivekananda, that the religion is not in doctrine, in dogmas, nor in intellectual arguments. It is being and becoming, and it's a realization. So today what I want to show all of you, that this is a realization for whole Southeast Asia. Ramayana for them, it's realization. Ramayana for them, it's their identity. And in this way, the 7 countries, what I did research last 6 years, that is a beautiful history of journey of the Ramayana. So each and every country of Southeast Asia, they have their own Ramayana. Thailand have Ramakien, Indonesia Kakavin Ramayana, Malaysia Gayat Rama, Philippines have Maharadiya Lavana, Cambodia have Riamkar, Laos have Pralak Pralam, Burma have Ramajatra Thiri Rama. There are many Ramayana. So this journey, when continue, we know that the Rama is the king name of the Thailand, and in Thailand, Ramayana is depicted in 5 ways. The Ramakien is the literary form, then the Khon is the dance form, Nang Yai and Nang Tulu is the puppet show, the leather puppet, and Hun is the doll, the made wooden doll. And the respect, love, and passion and dedication, all is related with the Rama story of the Thailand. And Rama story in the painting, 178 mural painting, there are thousands and thousands sculpture and the architecture extravaganza everywhere in Thailand. There are Prasad Pimai, Phanem Rong, and the Rama story also in the gold lacquer work, because Southeast Asia is very beautiful lacquer work. They know, and they're doing that thing. This beautiful Rama image, Rama idol in front of National Museum, Bangkok, and different form of the expression in leather puppet. That leather puppet which is coming from the Southeast Asia, in the Southeast Asia from the South India, and this is the Indonesia. We all know about the deep impact on Indonesian culture, Ramayana impact, and it is not only in Bali, but it is in Yogyakarta, Jakarta, Surabaya, many places. There was a Brahmin named Kaundinya, the historical character, and the Ojishoka, these two men, and Rishi Augusta. These people are spreading our culture very much, and also the Srivijaya Emperor, the Chola Emperor, they are doing this spreading of Hinduism and the spreading of Ramayana and Mahabharata all over Southeast Asia. So that Indonesian people can say that the Ramayana is our identity, and I can get a coin from 14th century from the Ramayana museum from Surabaya. And in the ballet, also in the Jogjakarta, every day, every night, the Brahmanan temple and Pura Viseta is making this beautiful dance drama, the Ram Lila in Jogjakarta. There is the last Hindu dynasty of Majapahit in Indonesia, and their influence is still going on. And again, the Malaysia. This Malaysia have also their Ramayana, Hikayat Seri Rama. Before 1970, there was the different situation. So you can see that in 1927, when Rabindranath Tagore went there and he wrote about his experience and the beautiful Ramayana he saw there, and they have also a museum about the Balaputra Deva, and that Balaputra Deva who helped to make Nalanda. And that area, they have also a cave named Komben Cave and the Batu Cave, and they got so many Hindu deities from 12th centuries and all that, and they make a Ramayana gallery inside the cave. And the Laos also they have their Ramayana. Laos have their Pralak Pralam, and the Bhatfu complex, one of the another biggest temple complex in Southeast Asia, that is known as the Maheshwara Shiva temple. And from the postal stamp to young Laotian face, you can see the Rama story is everywhere, and they have a pivotal role. So I saw that the Ramayana painting in the ceiling of the royal palace in Champashak, Laos. So what I realized, that this realization of the Ramayana in the life of Southeast Asian people, it's like a mingle. They love this thing. They love the epic. They respect the character. They live inside of this epic. And the Rama story on the wood in the Wat Siang Thong, and the magnificent masterpiece in the Luang Prabang. You can get so many Ramayana pieces in Laos. And the Cambodia, the modern Cambodia. That Cambodia have also the Riamkar, the Vishnu Upasana, Churning Ocean story, and the Apsara symbol. So this Rama story in the stone, you can see that Riamkar in Cambodia is not only in Angkor Wat, but there is a mini temple, that Bapuan, Angkor Thom, and the small temple named Banteisri temple. You can get beautiful sculpture of the Rama and Lakshmana and the battlefield and the Hanuman, Bali, everything. It's not like that only. They have their fashion, they have their design sense. That is also till date, they're following, they're continuing that Rama story. Here you can see one Apsara Sita, and the another side you can see the sculpture of Rama, Sita and Lakshmana and on the stone, and look the dress, look the headgear, everything is same. And the new generation also continue that thing. And the Laos and the Cambodia and the Indonesia, Thailand, and now this is the Rama Jatra in Myanmar. Myanmar is very close to Bengal, and this Myanmar have also the 13 Ramayana in the form of dance, form of drama, form of different part of the different acting. They have various Ramayana. That Burma was known as the Ramanna Desha or Brahma Desha once upon a time. And this Nath Luang temple and Avedana temple, they have Yamajatra. And that Yamajatra or Ramajatra was introduced by the oral tradition during the king Anuvartha in the 10th, 11th century. And it is not only followed by the Valmiki Sanskrit Ramayana, but it was also followed, the Thiri Rama is very famous in Burma, and it was followed our Krithivashi Ramayana of Bengal, and In the some places, the Kambo Ramayana also mixed. These 7 countries in Southeast Asia, they have numerous story, they have localization. At the same time, they kept the story from Valmiki Ramayana, from Kambo Ramayana, from Thiri Rama, from Tulsidas Ramayana, everywhere. And this beautiful Ramayana painting is not only in Thailand also. They have the Burma have also the manuscript painting, and there the young generation continue the work. They try to show the puppet show in the San Francisco and the passion of the new generation for childhood Rama legend, and it has been continued. And surprisingly, it's not only these 7 countries, 6 countries. Ramayana footprint in Philippines also. Philippines, we can say that the Thailand was a Thailand was a Buddhist country. Indonesia is a Muslim country. Philippines is a Christian by believed their Christianity, believed their Christianity. But when it's come about the Ramayana, when it's come about the Rama, there is no barrier. They cross all the barrier. And I saw first time 2016 the beautiful Ramayana event, Shita, the Ramayana revisited in the Bangkok Ramayana Festival. And again we met in 2019, and I got the point that they have 3 Ramayana. One is the Ramaradiya Lavana, and then it is the Sinkil dance, the bamboo dance, and then Dharanjan. And the influence, I said that the influence from the Srivijaya and the Majapahit dynasty on the cultural development of the early Philippines life and literature. And they have also one another beautiful thing. The Professor Juan Francisco, he was an Indologist, and he saw that the people of the Maranao Lake, they are chant something when they cultivate the rice, and they cutting the rice and they chanting a poem like a poem. And he stayed there, he learned the language, and he came to know that this is the mixed of the hudhud, and that is known as the hudhud and the Dharanjan, and that is comprising the 17th cycle of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. And there have 72,000 lines about the Ramayana. So it is not only like a one epic, it's not like a one culture from our India. It's a Ramayana, and the impact of Ramayana in whole Southeast Asia is so different and so beautifully till the date they continue, that I am really, really surprised and really doing a lot of work, want to do more work on this. And this work is done as a book form in the Ramayana Footprints in Southeast Asian Culture and Heritage. And I will be very happy that if you read the book, and I try to put all those connection, all those picture in the book. And thanks again for giving me this time and giving me such opportunity to telling something in a very, very short way in this August panel discussion. Thanks again. Namaskar.
Thank you, Anita-ji, for such a wonderful, informative talk. And we look forward to work with you in our future projects. And thank you again.
Hello, this is Vinod Gandhi. I'm one of the original founders and a past president of IRENA. It's my privilege and pleasure to introduce Dr. Catherine Raymond as the next speaker. Dr. Raymond holds a PhD from an institute in Paris, France. She is head of the Burmese study at NIU, Northern Illinois University. Her research is focused on the Burmese art collection and its influence on the South and Southeast Asian civilizations. Dr. Raymond is going to give a presentation on the Ramkian, the Thai Buddhist Ramayana, in the heart of the Thai kingdom. I welcome Dr. Raymond to give her presentation. Welcome, Dr. Raymond.
My name is Catherine Raymond. I'm a professor of Southeast Asian art at Northern Illinois University. I'm going to present Ramakien, the Thai Buddhist Ramayana in the heart of the kingdom. While the epic story of the Ramayana made its way to Buddhist mainland Southeast Asia about 1,000 years ago, each country adapted and transformed the great Indian epic to their own cultures. Thus, new beautiful literary works emerged to serve the purpose of the place and the moment. A vivid example of such adaptation is the Ramakien, the popular name for the Thai Ramayana. This presentation will offer you a glimpse of the Ramakien's history, content and visual aspect, and an assessment of his continuing influence within the art of the kingdom's Buddhist context. In the heart of the new capital, within the Grand Palace, a special enclosure was built in 1762 to surround the most precious Buddhist temple in the country, Wat Prakeo, built for welcoming the celebrated palladium of the kingdom, until today, the Emerald Buddha. It is in the cloister surrounding the temple that the Ramakien has been depicted, delineating the sacred precinct from the rest of the Grand Palace.
Good job, Bino.
To understand how Ramakien became a Buddhist story different than the Indian Ramayana, we may need to retrace its origin. While it is clear Ramakien has its roots in Valmiki's Ramayana, often considered the original version of the Rama epic, and much of the basic storyline of Ramakien can ultimately be traced to India, it is also clear that Ramakien was not taken directly from the Indian Ramayana. Many writers have tried to show some close association with different narratives from the Indian subcontinent, most particularly the Tamil rendition in southern India, like you can see on the map. Others, however, have indicated that there is a less direct connection with the Indian version, Tamil or otherwise, and have argued that the path taken was less direct as shown on the map. You can see my arrow from the Tamil Nadu, southern India, to Indonesia, to Cambodia, and to Thailand. Prince Dani Nivat, an important Thai scholar, made the argument that the version used by the Khmer at Angkor from the 8th to the 13th century perhaps having come through the Javanese. And you can see here, as we know, the Ramayana was widely represented on the Javanese temple in Java Island, like Prambanan in Indonesia. It was the most likely conduit between Indian version and what ultimately became Ramakien. This likely route of transmission is supported by the fact that during the Ayutthaya period of Thai history, from the 14th to the 18th century, many Khmer customs and traditions were adopted, including the literary tradition of the Rama epic. Although there are no written documents remaining showing evidence of the Ramayana story from the Angkorian period, but the legacy of this literature can be seen on many bas-relief carvings in numerous monuments within the remain of Angkor, present-day Cambodia, the ancient capital of the Khmer Empire. And also in some temples in northeast part of present-day Thailand, providing a strong indication of the likely transmission of the Rama tradition to later settlers and kingdom in the area. After the destruction of the former royal capital of Ayutthaya, A new capital was rebuilt in 1762, as I mentioned before. It was to rebuild at the center the royal palace. And that was really an important element to signal the center of the kingdom. And the royal patronage of Rama I, after his coronation, artists painted on the walls of the long gallery surrounding the Emerald Buddha. As I mentioned, 118 panels of the various avatars of Pranarai Vishnu, as well as the complete story of the Ramakien he has composed. Due to the humidity and since 1782, numerous times it has been repainted, and you see the young curator in action. So after the fall of Ayutthaya and the alleged destruction of much of the art and literature of that period, Rama first directed the compilation and recomposition of many literary works, including a complete version of the Ramakien. It is not until the start of the Bangkok period in 1782 under King Rama that Ramakien took its full epic form as we know it today. And in fact, the full version had 53,000 verses, while Ramakien appears to have received the most attention under his reign. The importance and popularity of the story lived long after his reign. His successor, Rama II, transformed and adapted for performance and gave the tininess of the story completed in 1815, where Rama IV, the Fifth, and the Sixth made their own literary contribution to the Ramakien repertoire. Rama VI further highlighted his recognition of the significance of Ramakien by choosing the dynastic name Rama Tibodi, in Thai, King Rama, to designate the kings in the Chakri dynasty. So the Ramakien became the source of inspiration of a Thai Buddhist art in various forms: performance, wall painting, corn mask, chest, manuscript, etc. Ramakien, for the most part, a description of one of the classic incarnations of the Hindu deity Pranarai as Praram, as I mentioned before, to overcome trouble in the world, similar to the role of other incarnations of Vishnu in the traditional Hindu mythology. It seems evident that the composers of Rama, first Ramakien, recognized that the Rama saga did not have Buddhist origin, and thus the story includes prominent roles for the important and familiar gods in the traditional Hindu pantheon, such as Shiva, Praiswan, Vishnu, Pranarai, Brahma, Prapram, Indra, Prahin, which is really an important figure, Pratit, as well as Surya. So this full version of the Ramakien of Hindu and Indic associated elements have many other major and minor Hindu deities. They were the hero and heroine, of course, Praram, as you can see here in this corn performance, and with Nangsita. The action and behavior of this character often exemplify the basic characteristic of traditional Thai society. One of these characteristics is the type of relationship which can be seen through recurring character traits like loyalty toward family and friends, particularly elders, obedience to those in a superior or more powerful position, respect for those who are older and wiser, and deference to ones of higher rank. Another character which is seen in the Indian version of the Ramayana is, of course, Hanuman, which take a very interesting and Thai role, element beloved by the audience, as you are going to see tonight. The Thai version of Hanuman, expressing his Thainess, is really one of the aspects of the representation of the Ramakien, especially in the royal palace. Here you have an example with a representation of Hanuman in a Thai context, such as this clothes, the weapons. You have a topography, a reference to the Thai elements of nature, typically associated with a Thai culture and in a Thai style. And here, one of the aspects is this spiral on his arm and his jewelry, reflecting a Banchiang pottery design as well as the Thai jewelry. Various aspects of Hanuman on a chariot is representing here the traditional royal academic painting, as you can see here with Praram. Of course, one of the other main characters of the story is Tosakam or Ravana, which is representing here with his mask with multiple heads, or in painting here with his weapons in his arms, and of course multiple heads and the mouth of the evil character. The painting of the Ramakien has been used as the basis for important mural painting all over the country, on the Thai Buddhist temples. Of course, the most important, as we have mentioned, at the heart of the kingdom is Wat Prakeo or Shetupan. And you can see here. But today, Ramakien is widely represented in Thai culture and is an important manifestation of a long-established Thai social custom. From abstract ideas of ideal behavior to concrete representation of painting on walls, Ramakien is a reflection of traditional Thai society. However, this appears to be evidence that in earlier rendition of the Rama stories in Ayutthaya, there were more reference to Buddhism, including recognizing Praram as the Bodhisattva, similar to how he is portrayed in the Khmer and certain northern and northeastern Thai version of the story. Furthermore, in Rama's first rendition, there are some elements that suggest Buddhist sensibilities, such as the prominent role of Indra, similar to his role in the traditional Jataka story, the previous life of Buddha, and the frequent references by many of the characters to suffering and impermanence associated with Buddhism. In a number of traditional Buddhist murals, characters from the Rama story appeared as part of the scene, usually in the scene of overcoming Mara, where Hanuman and other characters are often depicted among the troops in Mara army. And you see here under Buddha meditating. Therefore, the Ramastani in Thai, and most particularly Ramakien, while being ostensibly and on its surface a non-Buddhist, Hindu identified narrative has many association and connection with Buddhism. Thank you. Tonight, you are going to see one of the important scenes of Praram is crying here, representing over Nang Sida's body, which is in fact the evil character of Nang Benyakai in disguise. Tosakan devised a plan to trick Praram by having Benyakai transform herself in the dead body of Nang Sida. Praram went to the river to bathe and saw Nang Sida floating. But Hanuman does not believe it is Nang Sida because the body was so fresh and floating upstream. He asked the permission to burn the body, but Tosakan's daughter could not withstand the heat and run away. Hanuman chased her and caught her until she consented to be his wife, one of the many adventures of Hanuman in the Thai version. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Raymond. On behalf of Irina, I thank Dr. Raymond for a very picturesque and informative presentation. Irina looks forward to your continued support and participation in the future Irina performances. Thank you very much.
สวัสดีค่ะ I'm Janie Shibashi, Thai Dance Director of the Thai Cultural and Fine Arts Institute of Chicago. It is my honor to be here tonight and present Thailand's performance for the 4th International Ramayana Conference. Let us continue on with the Ramayana story. After Sita's abduction, Totsakan, or Ravana, sends his niece Nang Benjagai to disguise herself as a lifeless Nang Sita, as a diversion to get Praram to retreat back to his city. Our story begins in the scene Nang Loi, the floating Sita. As you will read before our scene begins, the brave and intelligent Hanuman will make a great case about Nang Sita's lifeless body. The Thai Cultural and Fine Arts Institute of Chicago is honored to have the blessings of Thailand's Ministry of Culture, Fine Arts Department in showcasing Thailand's professional dancers in this wondrous scene. This scene is unique to the Thai Ramakien. Therefore, we are very proud to present it to you all tonight. Please enjoy Nang Loi.
สมเด็จพระหฤวงศ์พุทธพงศ์ทิพากรเสด็จลง ทรงสาครกลับองค์พระลักษณ์อนุชาเฮ้ยเสนาพฤทธามาศโดยพระบาทเสด็จคลาเกือบไกลจะถึงสาคเรศที่เท้าเคยทรงชนเฮ้ยพระเหลือบเล็งชลาสินในวารินทะเลวนเห็นรูปอสุรกลอันกลายแกล้งเป็นสีดาเฮ้ยภาวะวิ่งประวันจิตไม่ทันคิดก่อโศกากอดแก้วคณิตทาหรือดีดินอยู่แดยันเฮ้ยเวยเวยลูกพระพายไปเผาเมืองทศพักแทนเครื่องจึงหักหานข้านางทิ้งน้ำทำประจานโทษเจ้าจะประมาณสักเพียงไรบาทบาทบาทนั้นว่าอยู่บูดผิด อยด้วยข้าตีสายบาดแผลน้อยใหญ่คงมีมาหนึ่งลงกาอยู่ตายที่ประทับศพหรือจะทวนกลับขึ้นมารูปนี้ดีร้ายจำแรงมาข้าขอชันสูตรเผาไฟลองเมื่อเมื่อนั้นพระหริวงศ์ทรงฟังเห็นถูกต้องจึงสั่งให้ตัดไม้มากายกองเชิงตะกอนทำสำรองเสร็จทันใดบัดบัดนั้นลูกลมมองทำเห็นเห็นยักษ์สีเกลียวโกรธโดดตามข้ามอัคคีขุนกระบี่เหาะลายไขว่คว้า
On behalf of the Thai Cultural and Fine Arts Institute of Chicago, I would like to extend an enormous thank you to Thailand's Ministry of Culture Fine Arts Department for their epic performance tonight. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Namaste. Namaste. My name is Rajesh Tiwari. I'm here to invite Pavina Gordon, Vice President of Ramayana Institute, to say her closing remarks. Thank you.
Swadika, my name is Pavina Gordon, and I would like to thank you for attending the 4th International Ramayana Conference organized by the International Ramayana Institute of North America. The organizing committee worked hard to put together this conference during this challenging time of COVID. Big thanks to conference chair, Dr. Savish Pade, for this hard work, guidance, and coordination to make this program a great success. This year, Ramayana Institute is led by the Indonesian community with Martino Tongkar as president, along with the Indian and Thai community. Sincere thanks to him and his executive committee for outstanding work for this program. Please, all team panelists, turn on your videos so we can recognize your contribution.
The panelist only, please.
Normally we would give out flowers like these to each and every one of you. But since this is COVID time, we are unable to. We also work tirelessly to create this wonderful conference to not only enjoy, but to teach the world about Ramayana. I would like to thank the Indonesian, Indian, Thai Consul Generals, along with Dr. Wayne Costner, the Governor of Bali, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, keynote speaker Dr. Tony Nadar, and other speakers Michael Sternfeld, Anita Bose, Dr. Catherine Raymond, Dr. Wayan Kun Anyana. Big thanks to all dance performers, directors, and volunteers for a job well done. We hope you'll join us for our program next year and also in 2022 when the Thai community will lead Ramayana Institute. Once again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Subhashi, we would like to offer an opportunity for our panelists, the guest speaker.
Yeah, let's Martino say a few words, then we will invite all the speakers who are joining us live. Martino?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks God, the most merciful, the most compassionate, for the spectacular and extravagant 20 years celebration. At the beginning of this conference, I already acknowledge and thanks to all dignitaries, all well-respected speaker, and all fantastic dance group, and of course, all audience. It is time for this is a time for a big round of applause to all volunteers, the core working committee, for the hard work and teamwork tonight. Dr. Subhash Pandey, our IT team, Nan Prakash Garg, Rajesh Tiwari, Sunishmita, Pavina Gordon, Nyoman Maharta Yasa, Rasmi and Vinod Gandhi, Ramesh Mahal, Daring Jin Isibasi, Newal Akinotri, Juk Upal, Chanti Marsyarun, Benjamas Pongchat, Busaba Pandungkiat Chak, and Claire Fasnak. See you all next year. Thanks so much. God bless all of you. Stay safe, stay healthy to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Martino. Now I would like to ask Mr. Michael Sternfeld to say a few words, please. Michael?
Thank you, Subhash. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I was trying, when I was introducing my video at the very beginning, I just was reminding back, you know, I met you, Subhash, and Noel Agnihotri. It's already almost 20 years since I spoke at one of the first World Ramayana Conference, the International Ramayana Conference. And I was saying that when I came and met with you in Chicago there, I felt that I finally found my family, my real Ramayana family. And today, again, it feels good that we are together as a world family together. And so I hope you continue that. We're bridging, as we said, the Buddhist, Indonesian, Christian, and the Ramayana cuts across all cultures, all boundaries, all time. So It's really a pleasure to be back with you here again, and fantastic job putting on this. And I love that the Indonesian performance there on that pavilion along the Chicago skyline, which is where I'm originally from myself.
That's Lincoln Park. It was Lincoln Park.
Fantastic. And yeah, I don't know that pavilion. I want to go there. That's fantastic. So
Thanks,
well done.
for all your support. And I think I would like to tell the committee that Michael was very helpful in really providing his guidance when I was preparing for this conference. So thanks, Michael, so much for all your help. I think Mrs. Anita Bose is online, live.
Namaste. Namaste, Subhasji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to sharing my thoughts. And thanks to Michael to think about me, and this introduction only happened for Michael. So accept my namaskar, Michael, also. And I want to say that Chicago for me is equivalent to Swami Vivekananda. I write also, Subhasji, that when the beginning I got the information and invitation, this is for me a blessing moment, and this is for me as my guru's work. So, and I am very happy that last 6 years when I was in Thailand, and as the first Indian guide, I do guiding in the Bangkok National Museum. And you don't believe when I listened to and saw the presentation, Raman ma'am, and I listened Michael, I listened Tony G, and all the other respected guests. That is a really, really immense pleasure and important moment for all of us, that the Ramayana is really cross all the barrier. Ramayana, which is my experience. Until I am doing work on the Global Encyclopedia project, in the 6 months, we connect 18 countries, 4 continents, and there are numerous presenters and contributors from the land of Fiji to the Japan. And it is really, really remarkable thing that how Ramayana connect us. And each presentation, each eminent guest and speaker and honorable government personalities and the organizing committee, please accept my humble pranam, humble namaskar. I will be very happy if I can any way, any type of help I can do in future. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Mrs. Anita Bose ji. I think your work is really representing so nicely that how the Ramayana travel in Southeast Asia and its impact on the civilization and culture. Thanks.
Actually, Shubhasji, it's a very short time because it is 7 countries. I covered all the countries, and almost most of the photograph what I used in my books, it's done by me. I believe in to go to the research field, and I will travel a lot, and then it's happened only by the grace of Programa. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Professor Rahman, online too. Catherine, Dr. Catherine Rahman.
No, I don't see her here.
She raised the hand and then...
yeah, she said her video is not working. Did you make her as a co-host, Nanji?
Can you make her co-host? Catherine Rahman.
Did she move into attendees? I don't see her here.
I see she raised the hand.
Okay, hold on a second. Yeah. So move her to panelist, and now we're
okay.
Yeah, Kathy, you can turn on your video. Yep. Finally.
Thank you. Thank you for saying
I think I was on the wrong system.
Okay, please say a few words.
It is always a pleasure to share my love for Southeast Asian art and Southeast Asian performance, and thank you very much for inviting me. It is a pleasure to share my love for Southeast Asian art and Southeast Asian performance. Wow. I don't know, there is a kind of echo.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for being part of this wonderful gathering tonight, and I enjoyed all the presentation and performance. Of course, especially the one in Chicago, that was exceptional. And of course, the one from Thailand and India are always a wonderful pleasure for me to see.
Thank you so much. Actually, you guys, panelists doesn't know that in the middle of the program, we changed the sequence all of a sudden, you know. And but it was just flawless and very well done. I think I would like to present the panelists. Our first, our founding president of International Ramayana Institute of North America. I think Mrs. Benjamin Spongchet, she's here. I can see her.
Yeah, she's here. I can see her.
Yeah. Thanks, Benjamin, for attending. You can say a few words.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
It was beautiful and was great. This time, I'm very, very happy.
Thank you for all your help throughout the year, Benjamin.
You got a new generation there.
Oh, thank you. And also, you know, all past presidents, they joined the panel, they introduced the speakers, but some of them I see in the audience. If they are hearing us, I really would like to thank them also because they find time and join the program. Anybody else want to say anything?
Okay. Subhashi, we are on time now.
I can say you all that the support we get from Indian Consulate Office here in Chicago, Indonesian Consulate Office, and Thai Consulate Office for really promoting the Ramayana related activity. I have no word. It's really just they're super. They always support us, and as the result of which you saw the tonight program, combination of the presentation and wonderful performances. So thank you all again for joining. It was just wonderful program, and just give big hand, you know.
Big hand to all of you, Subhashi,
Thank you.
for organizing this whole thing with your team. Very, very good.
And
well organized.
Say a few words, Fantimar.
Oh, hi. I'd like to congratulations to everybody, and thank you to all of the speakers, including all of the consul generals, and great jobs, great performance, and it's just so speechless. It's wonderful, and hope that everyone who participate tonight will join us next year. As you know, we will do a better one, we promise. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
And I also saw the Dr. Adnyana briefly online from Bali. Maybe I'm just wondering if, first I want to thank him for participating in this conference. Yeah, it was very special to us that we have somebody from Bali, and especially and the governor also giving his remark. So Dr. Adnyana, if you would like to say something, please.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, please,
From Bali.
Professor Kun. Thank you.
Please.
Thanks so much for the opportunity. I'm honored. My governor of Bali, Dr. Wayan Koster, honored to join this conference. I hope we will see you all together next year. Thanks so much from Bali.
Thank you, Bapak Wayan. Salam sarang sambutan salam.
Live on there.
অনিতাজি ভালোবাসো তুমি?
অনেক অনেক ভালোবাসা, প্রণাম আপনাদের যে আপনারা আমাকে এখানে ডেকেছেন। থ্যাংক ইউ এগেন। নমস্তে। নমস্তে।
Anyone else want to say anything? If not, I think we will conclude, and really I would like to thank everyone from bottom of my heart for making this program a great success. Congratulations.
Let's say thanks to Gauri Jog. She's in the audience also.
Who?
Gauri
I'm just
Jog.
wondering.
Oh, Gauri, can you bring Anand Prakashji, Gauri Jog?
Yes, I can.
So while waiting, our Consul General is online. Bapak, do you want to say something? Just
you want to say something?
Yes.
Good. From Indonesia, Indonesian Consul General.
Okay, Dr. Subhas Pandit, thank you very much. I don't know how I would like to say it's this is very great event, excellent performance today this evening, and I really thank you so much for inviting us to participate in this event this year. Even this is first time for me to be here with you all, and I will keep participating for the next year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Forward
that's very good to
with you all. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Gauri Jogji is here. Gauri Jogji, can you turn on your video? Okay.
Gauri Jogji is really a pillar for promoting the Indian culture in Chicagoland area. And she's participating so many years for Ramayana dance drama representing India. Gauri, you are around?
She has to turn on her video and unmute. No, she's muted and video is off.
Gauri ji?
Okay, Subhashi, I think we need to conclude.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So with that, thank you all again. And thanks Nanji for taking care. This IT is so challenging, but I really appreciate what you did and your hard work.
No problem.
Really
Always a joy.
Thank you.
flawless.
Thank you, Nan Prakash ji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a great
Prakash ji,
teamwork.
Tiwari ji, Mittal ji.
Subhash ji, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes.
Everybody who participated
Great
and
job.
also the community. Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Peggy.
much all.
Thanks.
Thanks to
Thank
all
you.
of you.
Thank you, Martino.
Thank you.
you.
Great job,
Thank
Peggy.
Thank you, Subhash ji.
Okay.
Thank you, Subhash ji, Nanji ji, and all the IT sector.
Everyone, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.